Fala aí pessoal, hoje aqui no canal uma convidada muito especial, a cantora Dawn Michele, da banda Firefly. Hoje a gente está recebendo ela aqui. Firefly é uma banda muito especial para mim, uma banda de rock cristã americana, e hoje a gente está tendo o prazer de receber a Dawn aqui. Quero iniciar o vídeo pedindo a vocês que ativem as legendas aqui do YouTube para que vocês acompanhem melhor o vídeo, valeu? Vamos iniciar agradecendo a Dawn pelo apoio, pela confiança, pelo interesse em estar fazendo essa entrevista aqui pelo meu canal. Muito obrigado.
Hi Lucas, thank you so much for having me.
Eu queria que você falasse um pouquinho como que foi o seu início na música, né? Como que foi seu primeiro contato com o rock, quem lhe apresentou os primeiros álbuns de rock e quando que você descobriu que você poderia cantar?
My first contact with rock and roll music would be as a child. I like to listen to classic rock with my family, and I loved Elvis and especially the rock and roll music coming out, in the 60s. And I realized that I liked to sing when I was in grade school. My first performance was in elementary school at an elementary school talent show. A friend of mine played the piano and I sang the song, and my family videotaped it. And I think that was kind of some of their first times realizing that I was singing, because I was always practicing at my friend's house. So my mom and dad were really excited about that, and they were really supportive. But I didn't do much more singing after that until I got into middle school, and I was in some musicals. And then in high school, I started going to church, and I started singing at church. And that's really how I started singing in front of people moving forward, because as I was singing at our church for a graduation service for the class that I was graduating for, and the rest of the band had been working together and came to approach me after that service because they had been in attendance and saw me sing and asked if I wanted to be the singer in their band, which was Firefly.
Na música, uma coisa muito importante são as influências musicais, né? Quais foram as suas influências que você carrega até hoje no mundo da música?
I have a lot of musical influences. I really love all music, all styles. I grew up listening to country music with my family. Most of all, I grew up in the middle of nowhere in the swamp in Florida, and we had cows and kind of pretended to be farmers, sort of. So we listened to a lot of country music then, and classic country music I love. But I think just growing up, I've had so many different influences. Right now, I think some of my biggest influences are Thrice and Blindside.
Vamos falar um pouco de vida cristã. Você já nasceu nesse berço cristão ou você se tornou cristã depois de algum acontecimento na sua vida que você veio a ter esse encontro verdadeiro com Jesus Cristo?
I didn't grow up in church. My aunts and uncles were Christian, but my family didn't go to church. And we struggled with a lot of tragedy when I was young, and it was a difficult time for my family. And we moved around a lot. I had a lot of different schools, but eventually I ended up in high school where we were moving, and we were having to travel about an hour every day to get back and forth to this school because my dad had got a job in the town, but we didn't live there yet. And so this was a lot of stress, living an hour away from everyone I was going to school with. And I prayed to God that if he would just let me live in the same town where I went to school instead of having to drive an hour there and back every day with my family, that I would start going to church. And when I started my sophomore year of high school, a friend of mine walked up and asked if I wanted to come to his youth group. And at first I was like, no, thank you. But then I remembered my promise, and I ended up going to youth group with him on a Sunday night and meeting a lot of really kind people there, and just felt really loved there, and I found a place for myself at the time. And so I started going, and that's how I started learning more about Jesus and wanting to be more like him.
Vamos falar um pouco de banda agora. Como que foi o convite e como que você entrou na banda Firefly?
Firefly came into my life as I was a senior from high school. I was graduating, and I sang at a service for all the graduating seniors. And Glenn and Wendy were there, and their younger brother was my age and graduating in the same class from the same school as me. And after they saw me sing a song in the service, they came up after and asked if I would be interested in singing in their band that they were starting. And that band was Firefly. And so I've been in Firefly and with Firefly since the very beginning. and it's been a long time. We have now been a band. We're semi-retired now, but we've been a band since the year 2000.
Aqui no Brasil ainda existe um pouco de preconceito quando o rock é usado para levar a palavra de Deus até as pessoas. Aí nos Estados Unidos acontece isso também?
We did get a lot of pushback towards rock music being used to spread the message of God's love. I think people, whenever something is different to them, it's their first instinct to kind of push back against it and to be worried about it. And so we did get some kind of hate mail, and we even had some picketers sometimes. But I really feel like we're pretty lucky to have been as blessed as we are and have all the open doors that we did to be able to travel the world and all over the United States and be able to share the message of God's love. And I don't feel that we've really had much negativity at all. Super thankful for that.
O que você achou do público brasileiro nos encontros que você teve com ele até hoje?
Fireflight looks back on our shows in Brazil as some of our best shows ever. I think that we'd be hard pressed to choose other shows over our Brazilian shows because of the incredible vivaciousness and the life-loving people who are there. And I think that the audiences are so incredible to perform for because they are so excited to be there and are so in touch with the music. And there's such an energy when you go to any kind of musical show, especially a rock show, and you're surrounded by people who love music and are having almost a spiritual moment together. And I think it's pretty incredible to be able to have been blessed enough to play in Brazil, coming all the way from the United States. And we'll never forget it. And I think it's definitely some of the high points of our entire career.
Quer divulgar alguma coisa? Quer passar alguma rede social, algum site que a gente não falou aqui agora? Fica à vontade, viu? O espaço é seu.
Fireflight is semi-retired right now. We released an album in 2020. And as you know, with the world pandemic and everything, it was a really hard time for music, especially for people to travel. And we haven't done much traveling since then. But I am working on music right now, a solo rock project with my friend Josiah, Josiah Prince was the producer for Fireflight's last album, which is The Head and the Heart. And so I'm excited. We've been writing songs this year and we're recording them now, getting them all down. We just worked with Adam this past week to record the drums, and it was such an incredible experience. I'm so thankful to have him on this project. He is an incredible drummer, and I love working with Josiah, and I'm super excited about these songs and everything that's coming up. And I hope everyone will keep an eye on my Instagram and my Facebook, and I'll be putting updates there so you can get more information about the new music that's coming.
Pra gente finalizar, eu queria te agradecer. Desejo a você sucesso e saúde para você e para toda a sua família. E queria que você deixasse uma mensagem aqui para o público do canal e para o público brasileiro em geral.
I would just love to tell everyone in Brazil that we in Fireflight love you so much. I love you so much. And thank you so much for tuning into this interview with Mantena. And I just pray that everyone will be blessed and know that God loves them so much. And wherever they are in their lives right now, whatever they're facing, they're struggling, my prayers are with them. And I pray that no matter what they're up against, that they will find just a supernatural strength and stamina and endurance to stand up against whatever's trying to hold them back, and that they would have a supernatural feeling and presence of God in their hearts, knowing that God loves you unconditionally and he is for you and not against you, and that you would just be blessed and see miracles in your life every day.